to the One Show with Matt Baker.
And with Alex Jones. Now, tonight we are joined by half of one of the most successful double acts in history.
And although he formed the band almost 50 years ago, their music is still very much on everybody's lips.
It's the love that I've found ever since you've been around. Your love put me at the top of the world. Oh, look at this, it's Richard Carpenter! Oh, Richard! Oh, perfect!
Good to see you, Richard.
Brilliant
Lovely
to
have
see
you
you.
with us.
Welcome to the One
Thank
Show.
you very much.
And to be fair, good singing.
Good singing.
Oh, yes.
Good singing. Good singing. Actually, you know, if you have a personal connection to a Carpenter song, whatever it is, then do get in touch in the usual ways tonight. And we'll tell Richard, we'll share.
Yeah. And welcome to the One Show. It's your first time, your
It is.
debut.
Thank you.
But we're going to take you back now to 1971. And we don't think you'd probably have seen this footage in a very long time. This is your first time at the BBC.
Yes,
BBC.
remember it well.
Talking to myself and feeling old. Sometimes I'd like to quit. Nothing ever seems to fit. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down.
You know what is incredible is every time you hear a Carpenter's song, you've got to noodle away as you go. It's just magic to hear. It really is. What do you remember the
Played
first
them
time?
so many times.
Yeah, of course. What do you remember the first time when you came to England and experienced the love for you guys?
It was really something that we'll never forget. We played Royal Albert Hall, actually.
Did
and
you?
the history that we did, and this was back before we were able to pry Karen away from the drum set and front the group. And she sat behind the drums and sang the whole way.
Yeah, and it was
But,
you,
yeah,
actually, who did manage to eventually get her out from behind the drums, but after a lot of persuading, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, she was, of course, 19 when we signed with A&M Records, 20 when we had our first hit, and we weren't born in a trunk, you know. She was just was used to singing from behind the drums.
And as kind of brother and sister, how much was music a big part of growing up for you? And because it was your kind of obsession, wasn't it, from a very, very early age as opposed to hers?
Yes, and Karen was 3.5 years my junior.
Yeah.
And my father had an eclectic and quite a large set of 78s at the time.
Right.
And I was into him pretty early on. I liked the music, all different kinds of music, the same as he. And then Karen kind of followed what I did, but even, you know, she was just born to sing.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, definitely. But
whether
she
I
was into
there or
PE,
not.
wasn't she? That was her love when you loved music from when you were about 3. Karen was very sporty, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was more of a tomboy at that age, and she certainly played softball better than I ever could. And however, when we were at senior high, she followed me in, and I ended up in the band, but only to play with the concert band, doing Rhapsody in Blue. But in the high school where we went in Downey, if you were in the marching band, you could opt out of phys ed.
Okay.
Oh,
And
ideal.
Karen did not want to be in phys ed.
No, who would?
So,
Who would? But it all changed for you, you know, as a duo with Close to You. That was when it really changed, wasn't it? And of course, it had been recorded before, but you're the version that people, I suppose, remember, and the one that stood the test of time, really.
Yeah, it was Herb Alpert, of course, A&M Records, who thought the song had potential. It just needed a different arrangement than the original one, which I hadn't heard. And he gave me a lead sheet with just melody and lyrics, no arrangement, and asked me to do what I could
To see what you could come up with. And you came up with that
slow shuffle.
That start that is so famous.
And
Would you play a little bit?
Oh,
for us?
sure.
Yeah.
Then the vibraphone, and then in comes Karen.
Yeah. And then you were saying that Karen then dropped in using that kind of drum beat. She just then fed into that kind of beat.
I heard it as a slow shuffle, chunk. So Karen did the lead. When it came to Close to You, to keep it in the rhythm, she sang close, close to you, which any number of people commented on at the time. But she had the talent to play the drums, and she heard rhythmic things, and it just added to her interpretation of that song.
And we'd love to hear the story of how Only Just Begun came about, because you actually you saw this before you tell it. You saw this on TV.
Oh yeah.
A kiss for luck and we're on away. We've only just begun.
That's Roger. Yeah.
So that was a TV advert.
It certainly was for the Crocker Bank. It was a soft sell campaign. You've only just begun. Let us help you get there. And I knew the singer was Paul Williams.
Right.
And that meant to me, Roger Nichols wrote the melody. And I thought with the right arrangement it could be a hit. I didn't know whether it had a bridge or a third verse because I'd only heard the ad. Saw Paul, asked him if it was the whole song. He said indeed it was. And again, got a demo of it and did my own arrangement. And
Go on, go on.
That one I knew was going to be a hit.
Play a little bit. Go
Well, we have the clarinet, but to get to the bridge, I thought was
nice
a whole tone way to get it into the bridge.
Yeah.
So that song, the arrangement and the interpretation was quite a bit different than Close to You. It had all the vocals and all. There was a whole different type of song.
It's a stroke of luck, really, that you heard the advert in the first place.
Well, for the writers and for Karen and me, absolutely.
We're going to talk about your brilliant new album later on, but there's some good news, because you may or may not know that it's already gone silver. Richard.
Is that right?
There we are.
Oh,
there you go. Huge congratulations.
Thank you.
There you are. Well, you can have that from us.
Yeah.
There you are. You can enjoy looking at that for the next few minutes because, first of all, Five Live's Chris Warburton recently met up with Rebecca Kenner. She's one of the world's best snooker players.
And although she's currently at the top of her game, she's in desperate need of a big break as she takes on her toughest opponent to date. Opponent, even.
I always had a passion for snooker because it's what my dad's favourite sport was. I would always nag him for a game, can I play, can I play? I do remember the old men who used to hog the table, and my dad put me to one side and said, these old men here don't like you playing on this table, so we've got to beat them. This trophy here is a doubles competition, and the first names is me and my dad in 2008. We won it again in 2012, and he passed away in 2015. But the next year, my husband partnered me, and then we won it that year.
It was these times with her dad at their local Liberal club in Keighley that got Rebecca hooked on snooker. After he died, she threw herself into the game. So much so that she's now ranked the world's #3 women's player. But that still wasn't her biggest challenge. Rebecca became captain of the Liberal Club snooker team and was the only woman player in a male-dominated league.
There are 2 clubs in the league that are men-only clubs, and they just do not let women in. I was just told I will not be able to play in that fixture. I will have to stay home.
What reasons did they give you?
We don't let our wives in, so we're not going to let you in. We don't have the facilities for a lady. They said, no, under no circumstances can you come in.
And how did that make you feel then?
Outraged, really. To be told you can't play the sport you love because of your gender is ridiculous. And it is quite upsetting remembering, but...
Humiliating?
Yeah.
Rebecca tried to get the league to move the matches to neutral venues, but the all-male board voted it down. In protest, she walked away from the league. I've played a fair bit of snooker over the years, but I am genuinely shocked that this sort of thing can still happen in 2019. The 2 clubs refusing to let Rebecca in are the Grafton and the Cycling Club. I've tried various ways to contact them, but they've failed to respond. However, I've discovered something really confusing here, because the Grafton does allow women in to play darts and dominoes. So what's really going on here? To find out, I'm going to the Grafton in person. They got the boss on the phone. He's too ill to speak to me, sadly, but he did say no comment. And the cycling club doesn't want to talk either.
They told me it was a private members club and that I'm not allowed inside.
Down the road, a group of women play in a mixed pool league. There's no men-only clubs in this league, but they say they still encounter sexism.
And you get guys around saying, oh, come on, she's going to beat you. Don't want to be beat by a woman, dear.
People think that it's a man's sport and women shouldn't be doing it.
What difference is it if I beat them or a man beats them? There's no difference.
We spoke to 7 of the top British female snooker players, and 5 of them confirmed they had received similar discrimination. Rebecca argues that those running her local league should be doing much more to stamp it out. So what do they have to say for themselves? Alan Speaks is one of those in charge of the league.
I've spoken to these clubs personally, and there's nothing the league can do to overturn these decisions.
But what do they tell you?
They don't give me a reason.
Well, I'm not happy with that. You're stopping a whole gender playing in that league.
7.
If we lost 2 of those clubs, we would lose 4 teams. We can't afford to lose any more teams, otherwise we wouldn't have a league.
It starts with the league having a bit of a backbone, not by saying, oh, well, we don't want to lose them.
Has the league not got enough backbone?
They don't, no.
Well, we've got enough backbone to make our own decisions.
Rebecca is taking Alan to the cleaners.
What if we did get more women players to start playing in this league?
The league would have to reevaluate the situation.
In the end, Rebecca thrashes Alan 67-31, but sadly, this isn't the victory she wants. So how can she make the breakthrough? One answer could be to persuade the women from the pool league to take up snooker.
Ooh.
It would definitely improve your pool game.
Is it realistic that you would join a snooker league?
I'd like to give it a go.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, definitely.
It's amazing. I never thought we'd get 5, 6 players. I thought just even another one would be a hard task. I'm going to go back to Alan, and if there's a full team of ladies to play, they can't possibly turn that down.
Well, I'm sorry, but Alan's attitude is very old school. Do you not
Shall we have got the audience then. Just general feeling. You would like to see more women players involved. Certainly going to that particular club as well. There we are.
I mean, Richard, you know, you were shaking your head. You couldn't believe what you were hearing,
Not
could
2019, no.
Ridiculous. Well, since the film has been made, the Grafton Club have been in touch, and here's their response. They say, it's a male-only club, and these are the membership rules. The club would not have a problem if the league held snooker matches at a neutral venue, which would allow Rebecca to play. But then you put that to him, didn't you?
Yeah, that was put in the league AGM, and all the delegates of each team decided that wouldn't be fair on those clubs to lose that home draw. But if they now say that they're happy for that to happen, maybe this time when I go to the AGM, maybe they will put their hands up, change their minds, and I might be able to play.
If we were to scale this up then and look at the World Championships, right, the pro game, is that open, that competition, as far as gender is concerned?
Surprisingly, a lot of people don't think it is, but it is open to both genders. I didn't know until I started playing on the women's tour that you could be a professional. Just from watching it from being young, you only see men playing, so as a young girl picking up a cue, you never think you could become professional, but yeah, you can.
Yeah.
It's open to both
if they
genders.
can do it at the World Championships, then you could think they could do it locally, maybe.
Yeah.
And you've got 5 new recruits, and you were surprised, weren't you, to see that, you know, so many were interested. You've been helping them and training them and all the rest of it. How are they doing? Are they getting there?
So I'm getting them in one by one to try improve the game. It's a lot harder than pool, but with the right guidance, you can get good at it. So if they catch the bug like I did and they keep playing, then yeah, definitely come on the ladies tour as well, join the league, and get playing. And
I guess that's your message to anybody who's thinking of taking up the sport.
Yeah, even young girls, if you see a snooker table, have a go. If you catch the bug, there is a women's tour which is for amateur players of all ages and abilities. Head into womensnooker.com. You can see there's a tour there for any ability to come and give it a go.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
It is a great game. Thank you so much for coming.
Something will change now, Rebecca. Come on.
Yeah.
Right, brilliant.
That's going to have a reaction, that story, I'm sure.
Definitely. We're going to talk to you, Richard, now about your new album, Carpenters with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. Now, to a lot of people, your stuff is already perfect, but you felt that you wanted to do something you wanted to tweak it a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, after all of these years, I heard certain of our records and thought, wouldn't it have been nice if I had done this in my arrangement? And never thought I'd have the opportunity to do it. So when it came along, I certainly agreed to go ahead with the project.
Well, you've got the most magical group of musicians to help you out, so let's just have a look at you leading the orchestra in the studio. Rewind back and find out what you didn't like about the other tracks. What was your problem with them?
Oh, I can't say I didn't like them, but as I matured or grew older, I just heard different things that I thought would add to the arrangement without screwing it up.
Yeah.
And I hope I achieved it. The Superstar, just a little thing in the interlude, the re-intro, when the oboe comes back in, I added some more horns and a little bassoon line that I've been picturing all these years. It was really a joy.
But there was an issue, wasn't there, with air conditioning, of all things?
Oh, yeah. Well, even in the best of recording studios, you would get ambient
noise,
especially in something as intimate as the lead vocal. And through the years, I could hear in certain recordings just a little rumble in Karen's lead that was the air conditioning in the studio. It was very common in the best of studios.
Yeah.
But now, you know, with modern technology, you can remove all of that without botching up the sound of the lead at all. It just makes it that much more present.
Yeah, yeah.
And how did you choose which tracks that you wanted to do then, Richard?
Well, a number of the hits, but not all of them, and then certain album cuts that I've been fond of all of these years, like This Masquerade and Baby It's You.
Yeah, I mean, one of the ones that sounds really lovely is Ticket to Ride, and we know it's one of your favourites as well, and you recorded it at Abbey Road, which obviously has got all the history and all the rest of it. Why is that one in particular, then, to you, one of your favourites, really?
Lennon McCartney wrote very melodic songs. I noticed that right from the first time I heard them with From Me to You. And Ticket to Ride, I think, makes a lovely ballad, and it's a showcase not only for Karen's lead, but the Carpenter's overdubbed harmonies and my arrangement. I think it works very well. After all of these years, if I had to pick one, I think it would be Ticket to Ride.
Really, really. And what was it like for you then to be in Abbey Road Studios, stood there, conducting the orchestra in the way that you did, and, you know, hearing all of those visions and thoughts actually, you know, come to life right there in front of you?
Well, of course, the original was done in that very studio, if I have my information correct. And it's a very large studio. It was made for orchestras. Pre-Beatle. It's been around a long time.
But with all of the tracks, I mean, even the tracks that you'd worked on previously, to hear that kind of, you know, that difference with the orchestra.
Oh, of course, because it was 2.5 or 3 times the size of the studio orchestras, because we had to adhere to a budget, so we couldn't originally have orchestras that big. You know. But this, of course, the whole idea with this series, with Elvis and
Roy
Orbison and Beach Boys, Aretha Franklin, was to feature the orchestra without overdoing it.
Yeah, and I suppose, you know, even though you could make your tweaks and all the rest of it, you were sort of stuck in a way, because the vocals was the vocals and they've been laid down. I mean, it must have been quite an emotional experience as well, recording it with the orchestra and hearing Karen's voice again.
It was, in that we took the records right down to the multi-tracks, right down to each track that we had done originally. So in a way, it was like remaking them right from the
start.
Right from the start.
Yeah.
And I just wish that Karen could hear this. She'd be blown away with it.
Well,
are you happy with them now?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah.
After everything.
Yeah, no more tweaks. Carpenters with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra is out now.
Now, over the weekend, Lucy was in Sheffield as people came together to tackle an all too common problem.
And as you're about to see, it looks like the tide is starting to turn.
Imagine that the world outside is your home.
Keeping Britain Tidy. It's a campaign phrase we first heard in the 1960s. But how well does it work today? Head to the beach or a riverside like here on the River Don in Sheffield, and you'll see something like this, the discards of everyday life, including, I note, single-use plastic. So when and how can we turn the tide? The Great British Spring Clean has sprung into action. It's a month-long campaign organised by Keep Britain Tidy and backed by the Daily Mail, where hundreds of volunteers are cleaning up mountains of litter strewn across the UK. So Helen, why did you come up with this particular campaign?
I think there's a massive awareness now about the impact that we're having on the environment, the Blue Planet 2 effect, as we call it. And what we've seen is a campaign that's grown and grown until this year we're at nearly 500,000 volunteers. Litter breeds litter, so if there's litter present, you'll get more of it, and it has an economic impact. So every piece of plastic, every piece of rubbish we can get out of a river is one bit less that will end up damaging our environment.
Some generous folks of Sheffield have turned up to spend their spare time cleaning up this area of the River Don.
I'm a big fisherman. I'd love to see salmon, you know, jumping up that river. That would be absolutely fantastic. Every little helps. If it looks better, people are less likely to throw stuff in.
I'm loving your ambition. It's not just you come here to pick a few bottles and polystyrene up. You want to see salmon leaping down here.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. How come you're spending your weekend here doing this?
As international students, but living in Sheffield, we also want to see the river in a good state.
You've got a hoover and a lawnmower as well.
There's a hoover.
Oh. Got all kinds of weird and wonderful things in there, like ranging from a trainer to water park system to lots of bottles of water, loads of carrier bags that are disintegrating.
How does it make you feel to come across all these plastic bags when we've got a plastic bag levy? We're supposed to have a grip on this by now.
A bit disappointed. Having said that, you've no idea how long that's been there. So that could have been there 20 years, you know, change is happening, but I think we're still probably finding the effects of our throwaway culture from decades ago.
It could be all sorts of wildlife in here, in the city, which is perfect, and it could be something worth looking over a bridge for, but at the minute, it's really not.
Would you like an exchange?
Oh,
there you go,
wow.
there's another plate for you.
Is this your best find so far today?
A computer. It's the best one.
You found a computer?
A computer. It wasn't in working condition, mind you.
Across the country, communities have been getting stuck in, cleaning up in cities, on beaches, down canals, along roadsides and across local parks. The River Don was once the most polluted river in Europe, but thanks to the hard work of people like Jane, its future is looking healthier.
Somebody said to me the other day that this has happened because of 1 trillion careless acts, and really what we need now is 1 trillion careful acts to do something about it. And I think it's all of those different community groups coming together, doing their bit, will make it happen. I firmly believe that.
80 people giving up a few hours of their time on a Saturday, fuelled only by a bit of free pizza, and this is just a third of what they've pulled out of the river here in Sheffield. That is what I call people power.
That's a big lump of stuff,
It
isn't
is.
it?
Thank you,
Do
Lucy.
what you can, yeah.
If that's inspired you, you can join the Great British Spring Clean, find a litter pick in your area, or even you can set up your own by visiting keepbritaintidy.org.
I think it's mad that we have to pick up other people's rubbish. Just
I know,
pick it up in the first place, and then other folk won't have to go and pick it up for you.
I knew he was going to say this, but he's got a point.
Oh, anyway, and Lucy isn't the only one who's been keeping Britain tidy. Let's say hello to Liam Wildish. Let's give him a little round of applause, because Liam is a window cleaner from Retford with a difference, because it's not just windows that you clean, is it, Liam?
No,
tell us what you've been up to around
God, we're never so busy. I mean, I started basically a window cleaning business last year.
Yeah.
And I wanted to build my business alongside community work, obviously being beneficial for the business and obviously beneficial for the community that we live in. And obviously I was sat with my friends. The equipment that I use for the window cleaning is actually perfect for cleaning road signs. So we went out in the area, obviously noticed there was a few signs out there. We went out, gave it a smash, and yeah, it's done ever so well.
Now, you're not getting paid for this, are you?
No, it's all non-profit, yeah. So it's all off sort of a community thank you. Sort of word of mouth helped build my business.
You must be like the sort of the Banksy of the roadside. Everyone's going, he's been here, he's cleaned up.
Oh, I know, it's crazy. Like a little local celebrity. You go out cleaning and people are, you know, bipping the horn at you, like, ooh, you know, hello.
Well, you've had lots of reaction then, have you, from the, you know, the locals? They've noticed.
Overwhelming, yeah. more than I ever expected. You know, sort of it's not just Retford that it's sort of inspired, it's sort of people worldwide almost are messaging me, contacting me, saying, you know, it's fantastic, and hopefully we can sort of inspire more people to sort of make some changes, and
good for business,
make it, that's it, yeah. So it's a win-win all round,
Listen, let's give him a huge round of applause. Well done, Sarah.
Earlier on, we asked if you could get in touch, if you had any connections to the Carpenter songs. We've had lots, actually, Richard. Simon from Cheshire says he's been a fan since he was 14. He says their music means a lot to me and gets me through just about anything in life, especially Richard's arrangements and Karen's one-of-a-kind voice.
He's got more discs than you have now, Richard. Here's Vanessa from Suffolk. She has this to say to you.
Hi Richard, my name is Vanessa. Trying to pick a favourite Carpenter song is almost impossible. It's like asking to choose your favourite child. But if I had to really pick one, it would probably be Maybe It's You. I think that's kind of special. I'd like to thank you so much, Richard, for the music. It's meant more to me than you will ever know, so thank you.
Oh,
you're quite welcome. That's so nice.
Ah, Teresa from Kent says, I married my husband Dave in 1987 and our first dance was to We've Only Just Begun. I bet loads of people had that, didn't they?
They must. Look at this lovely little picture here. This is from Lynn. The song Close to You was the first song that I sang to my brand new little grandson, Remy. We all cried. It was a lovely, very special moment.
Wow.
Very
that's so good to hear.
Oh.
All these lives that you've changed with your music.
Wow.
It's magic, it really is.
And we heard the sad news today about Scott Walker, and Richard very kindly said that he will play a little impromptu tribute to him. So if you'd like to go to the piano, Richard, that would be great.
Let's give it to him.
Yeah.